here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started then. So first of all, Larry, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah.
I went to EWU myself, so I definitely know the level of awesomeness it takes to go to Eastern. So Big Sky champ, record holder, like 4 times. You broke your own record like 4 times, I believe. And I think recently I saw you said you were competing recently, and I think I saw you did an 17.6, or you PR'd doing your post-collegiate career, correct?
So I ended up transferring to university, Utah Valley University.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I transferred there and then competed for, was supposed to be my last year that year. So
Okay.
I was still competing collegiately. I finished my 5th year.
Okay, I got you. Awesome. All right. So first question is, when did you find out that you were going to be a collegiate athlete? Like, walk us through that. What were the emotions that were going through you? What was going through your head? What were you imagining? Walk us through finding out that you were going to move on your sports career to the next level.
So it was my senior year, and I kind of made a decision that I didn't really want to go to college because I didn't want to incur like any debt. And so I was really big on, I'm just going to go in the trade. I'm going to start to work, start building up money, saving. Like, I don't really want to do the college thing. And then I ended up meeting my girlfriend at that time, and she was going to go to Eastern. And I was like, well, I might as well go compete. And then after my junior year, I had a really good season in Richland High School. And so I was like, well, you know what? Like, I might as well go, especially if like I could possibly get some of it paid for, and might as well have that experience. Because my dad said, you can always come back to work. Work will be there for the rest of your life, but college is usually a small opportunity and have that same experience at that age. And you're never going to be around a place where there's as many people your age as college will be. And so I started talking to the Eastern coaches and figuring all that stuff out, and then got accepted into Eastern, and I was super excited and happy. And then got into the pole vault program and was going to end up pole vaulting, and everything looked really promising. And so I felt really happy, and I was really relieved. I was excited, and it was going to be a new adventure. And so then, I got there, and I do not regret that decision in the slightest. And I recommend everybody who can go to college. It is so worth it. It is such a good experience. It is so much fun. You learn so much, and as a person, you just become a way better person. It changes you.
Very nice. So when you first get there, one can expect that the competition is obviously at a different level, but what were some of the first differences that you noticed as you were competing at that collegiate level? So think about maybe when you started to see walk-ons and your teammates, and maybe even your first meet, and what were some of the first things you noticed about your competitions at a collegiate level?
Yeah, so for because the college, there will still be some meets that, especially if we're in the track and field realm, there are going to be some meets that are going to feel like they kind of are high school meets still. Like there was some similarity in that, especially with some of the competition, because pole vault really is, not my specific one is a little bit different in the competition aspect. There's just not as many pole vaulters as there are, people who sprint and do that. And so there will just be some times, especially depending on the conference you're in, because if you're in the Big Sky, it's a little bit more competitive than a lot of conferences. But if you're in like the Pac-12 or, the Big Ten, or like some of these other more like, higher end, higher developed conferences with the school funding, it's usually you get a little bit more competition. But it was really like for the most part, the big meets felt like you're going to a state championship. It felt like every meet had that kind of feel. You have your little meets that you do locally within the school. Like we had Eastern, we'd go to Spokane and just do that. And it's just kind of like a little invite. But the difference is everyone there, when you're on a track team or sports team in high school, or even before that, everyone there you're going to find like a good amount of people that are kind of just there to socialize. They're there for the social event, or because their parents told them to go, or, because they have to be in that to be training for another sport, or whatever the circumstances are. They're not always there purely for that event. And once you get to college, everyone is there and everyone is driven. Everyone is like ready to compete. Everyone has their goals, and you just see the difference in like, your top tier athletes in high school, and then it's all the top tier athletes in high school who are competing. And so it's like, every, practice, every meet, everything feels like you're at a regional championship or you're at a state championship. And so the competition level goes a lot higher. And then once you get like to, first round nationals or second round nationals, it's just like, whoa, like everybody is like just completely jacked and just so like, just so driven. You can see the intensity in everybody's eyes, and they're ready to compete. And it's amazing.
Would you say that that feeling, do you use that feeling? Do you guys like drive and push each other like your teammates, or it's almost like that heightened sense almost is like a calling for like, okay, yeah, I'm here. But, it lifts up the hairs on the back of your neck kind of feeling.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely feels like that. And I mean, and every team's going to have, regardless of whether it's high school, college, post-collegiate, like there's going to be people who aren't always going to be completely ready to, do the work for the team or like understand the complete reason why they're there. Because there's going to be times when, people go to college and they're in the athletic events and, they're kind of checked out with different stuff, whether they'd rather be partying or they'd rather be doing stuff like that. But for the most part, everybody is there to win a championship, or everyone's there to make to the next level. And you really just together, I mean, if someone's slacking off on the workouts, you're going to have your buddy, dude, what the heck are you doing? We're trying to get to the Olympics. We're trying to get here. And so you really do have that with you, which is so nice.
Good. Very good. What are some of the unexpected challenges that came on the competition field and life outside of track as just a college student?
So like on the competition field, I think the biggest thing was injuries. The amount of workouts and the amount of things you do is just, you really have to be super, super just regulated on making sure that you're taking care of your body, you're getting sleep, you're doing things. It's not like high school where it's like, well, I'm going to stay up till 3 a.m. and, play video games. And then, maybe I can go down and do that, which you never should do ever. But like, I had to learn that a little bit of the hard way, because I had to transition from, okay, it's fun and like I'm going through school and everything, to I'm on a schedule. I need to be in bed at 10 every night. I need to have homework. I need to set, these 3 or 4 hours specifically aside for homework. I need to set around this time. My schedule needs to revolve around track in school, and the kind of social life aspect isn't as much there if you're wanting to be the best. Like if you're wanting to like take yourself to the next level, because there will be people, especially at the next level, that are there to party. Like they're living for the social event instead of their school and, their track and field event or their sport or football or whatever that they're there for. They're always kind of going to be that, I think. But for the most part, just learning how to schedule yourself, because now you're going from a spot where you're usually, if you're fortunate, living with your parents and, they're having to take care of you, paying for food, to now everything's on your own. You're paying for everything on your own. You're making your own way. And if you're fortunate, you might have parents that are going to be there and help you out. But, it helps you really become an individual. And that was probably the biggest thing. And so for school, like outside, I just say social life, like even in competition and all that, it was just kind of a social life thing, learning how to balance all of that and learning how to regulate yourself with your own goals and all of that. Because no one's there to hold your hand to, hey, if you want to do this, you need to be doing these workouts. If you want to do that, there's no holding hands. It's just, you're an adult now, get it done. And so just kind of transition to that. That was a pretty hard thing, I think, and surprising.
Yep. I agree. That whole going on and becoming an adult phase, that it's just the new horizons and people find themselves with different roads. Totally understand. So when you get to the next level, considering you have a larger audience, you have an abundance of like skilled athletes, but then you throw into that, like you said, you're on campus a lot, but you throw in the college and getting good grades. What goes through your mind with handling the pressure that comes from being a student athlete? And have these moments translated how you respond to skills that you use outside of college now?
Yeah, absolutely. They've translated. So for me, during competition specifically, I've been really blessed with just maybe it's a mindset or just something my parents instilled in me, but like I really thrive off that competition. I never really get too stressed or anything. And I've always seen the sport I do as, something to take away all the stress. It was an outlet for me. So I never really ever got like stressed, like, oh, I got to pull or all this competition or anything. I was always like, yes, I was so excited. This is what I've been training for. I'm ready to do this. It's going to be so much fun. And so you kind of get that opportunity where, you know, the sport becomes your life and it becomes your outlet to deal with stress. And so academics, like, yeah, like it can get really stressful, especially with finals and everything when those finals weeks, and then you throw meets on top of that. But I use the workouts and the meets and, you know, all that structure to help me to feel happiness, like to be happy about the situation I'm in, because like I'm there because I love to pole vault. I loved it. And so because I love to do that, like I found happiness, and that was my outlet whenever I was stressed, sad, or angry, or need things to do. It's like, all right, I'm gonna go do a workout. Okay, I have a meet tomorrow. Let's take my mind off everything else and just focus on that. And so that helped a lot.
Very good. Yeah, you're somebody that has a lot of different hats. You are a Big Sky competitor. You are a record holder. You are a college. You know, you're almost done with college, or you are a college graduate now, right? So you have all these different hats that you're wearing, right? Along that journey, what do you think was one of the largest challenges that you had to overcome?
They definitely learning like to be there for other people, because especially with track and field, it's an individual event. It really is. Like at the end of the day, it's your marks, it's your things. But kind of going throughout my college process, and a lot of the times I got in there and it was really about myself. You know, I was thinking about how can I do this, I want to go hang out with his friends. How can I do that? What's going to be the best thing for me to get, past these points. And then kind of learning how to get to a point where it's like, you know what, like I'm going to get up and I'm going to go shovel my neighbor's yard when it's snowing out. Or like I'm going to get up and, maybe I'm going to text my family or just tell them I love them and be consistently active on that. And that was a change that really came more recently for me. And being able to just care about other people through my journey and to be able to help other people has been a big thing for me, because like I'll be honest, I was selfish for a good amount of my college career, and just kind of thinking about myself and, what I wanted to do. And really, like, life is too short to be like that. Like it's good, but it's way too short. And there's so much more joy and happiness you can get from helping others and letting people into your life to help you to achieve your goals. And so for me, just learning how to be like a good citizen, learning how to be like there for other people. Because anytime, even in Richland High School, if you're an athlete or even if you're a student, you're wearing that school's name on your back the whole time. For when I was at Eastern, I had Eastern's name on my back the whole time. And when I was at UVU, I had UVU. And so if I was to do something silly or get caught doing something silly, like I'm going on the paper, I'm going on different places. It doesn't just affect me, it affects my family, it affects my friends, it affects my school, it affects so many different aspects of my life. So learning to be like, hey, like I need to be respectful of those titles. I need to be respectful of my school, my family, my friends. Like I need to learn to love them and do things for other people instead of just myself. So I think that was probably one of my biggest challenges.
Very good. There's a lot of the spectators. We see you on the competition side. It seems like you turn on the TV, we see NFL athletes on game day, but the things that we don't see is behind the scenes, right? What do people don't see in collegiate athletes such as yourself?
Yeah, especially with people dealing with performance aspects, like they don't see the work behind it. They don't see the hours and hours and hours of work. They don't see the community events that they do. They don't see the fundraising. They don't see, I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to go do a workout. Then I had to study for 3 hours, go straight to class, come back, study. Then I had to work out and somehow fit food, and then being, helpful, trying to contact your parents. Like they don't see the long, like structured schedule and the sacrifice that are made for that. And it really is a lot. And going from high school to college, it's like it goes way up, because you're there to pole vault and you're there to get an education. And I think just people fall away from those two things and they go, oh, well, I'm just trying to go party, I'm trying to go do this, or I'm trying to focus on other things, when really, like, those are the two main things you're there for. You're there to get an education and there to do your event as a post-secondary education athlete. And so it's just that no one sees the work, no one sees the sweat, the tears, the blood, and it's so much of it. There really is. Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Are there common misconceptions with athletes that people make?
Oh yeah, absolutely. For one, especially with student athletes at colleges, there's a big, like, kind of disconnect between privileges between student athletes and just are like people who are just there to study. And so like, you know, athletes get priority registration, they get different things. But again, people don't see the work and everything that's put in, the sacrifice that these athletes make to be able to have what they have. And so a lot of times there's kind of a disconnect in understanding that. I'd say there's a big misconception with kind of like the mental health of, you know, especially student athletes, because everyone sees student athletes, oh, like they're successful, they're doing this good stuff. And really like in today's world, there's a lot of mental health issues that keep arising and coming on with social media, with, you know, having to be good, with being able to compare yourself to others. And so I think like, and there's been a lot of different things that I've been working on with, whether it's like Title IX or, you know, schools are now having people come in to give talks to student athletes because they're really like, their life revolves so much around everything else that there isn't a lot of time to like, hey, let's talk it out, or like, hey, I'm going to go just hang out with my friend. And so like, there's just, yeah, there's a lot of like struggle sometimes. And that's, again, you got to learn to like reach out to other people and be there for them, and learn to let people be there for you because it's important.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, my space bar is not working for some reason. All right, so let me ask you this thing, because you say that you go down, 5 a.m., you're working out, you're putting in 3 hours of study time, you have to go get meals, all this and this. One of the big topics right now is about the NCAA allowing athletes to get paid using endorsements of their name, their likeness, and image. How do you feel about the NCAA allowing student athletes to get endorsements?
I mean, I think it is wonderful. You see so many examples of like, you know, I forget which one, it was some college basketball player who came out after like one of the championships and said, they asked him, he said, well, I was just trying to eat. Like I couldn't eat food. I couldn't get any of this. And my coaches wouldn't let me do this. And then the NCAA immediately made a change. Like, okay, coaches can give people food. Like the NCAA has billions and billions and billions of like, there's so much money that is going into NCAA. And for them to finally be like, okay, we're going to allow, you know, some of these athletes to be able to be paid for their likeness. So when they can wear their name on their back and now they can receive funds for that, that's going to help those athletes who are sacrificing and doing all that stuff to get food. Because to be honest, even I had a struggle with food throughout my career. There was times when I didn't have food for 2 weeks and I'm making a thing of bread last for as long as I can, whether it was because of funds or, you know, I just couldn't, there was problems with getting money to me from, you know, my financial institution. And so, I mean, there was times where it would have been really nice if my coaches could have been like, yeah, here, we're going to get you some food, or we're going to do this. And part of that, they've made now efforts, like a lot of those colleges now have like pantries and stuff that they can go to and do all that. And I don't know if that was present before, but that was never really communicated to me. And so it's just, you kind of get in these spots where it would be really nice if you could get that extra funding and, you know, keep the scholarships the same, let athletes be able to take from that small little pool of money that they can receive money for the likeness if they earn their school points or if they earn their school, you know, different things. And so that was, you know, a pretty big thing for me. Also, I would say, also with a misconception, this is a big thing. I don't know if any of you in here are student athletes, or like I'm assuming you guys, some of you are, but if you guys are going to the next collegiate level, a big thing to remember is there's so many different rules in NCAA, and then there's some rules that are just like, they should be present, but they're not. For example, scholarships for student athletes there's no mitigation or like rule that has to say like, you know, you have to give your amount of money that you get for a scholarship to the athlete who's doing the best. Literally, it's up to the coach's discretion to be able to just, you know, put the scholarships where they should be and how they should go. And so that's why I think it's a really big deal. Like, yeah, the NCAA was not going to pay because those people who, you know, maybe they're in a school where for whatever reason, maybe the coaches, they just don't get along and there's some favoritism going on and they're not getting the scholarship money that they feel like they should earn. Well, now they can get paid by the NCAA and by their likeness because they're earning the school or they're getting out there or they're making it to top tier levels. So I think it's just going to be another little stepping stone to help give those people who are making that many sacrifices and living really that full-time job and give them money so they can live.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I like that you pointed out is that, hey, you know, there's a need for somebody to not be selfish and be a teammate. And it seems like one of those things, those likable characters, somebody like, let's say you're good at pole vault, you should be able to have a clinic and have kids show them how to properly pole vault. That's your area of expertise, you know? And so I like that you say that, yeah, this is definitely a good idea. I agree with you 100%. Okay, would you consider yourself an athlete who loves to win or an athlete who hates losing?
Ooh, an athlete who loves to win. And I say that because an athlete who hates losing, we're always going to lose. It's part of the game. Life is about losing at a lot of different times. Like, we're going to get through, we're going to have trials that we're going to be faced with our lives, but it's not going to be focusing on, how am I going to fix so I don't lose? It needs to be focusing on how am I going to improve myself to be better, to enjoy winning more? How am I going to improve myself to be in a spot where I can go forward after this? Because if we get too focused on all the bad stuff that we need to fix and not necessarily focus on the strengths that are going to help us to improve, we're just going to get caught in a rut where we're just not going to be progressing as much as we possibly could. Losing is a part of every competition, even mine. Like, there's not one person who is going to go out a complete winner, because with my pole vault event, like, you go out losing, like, you miss your last bar and then that's when the competition ends. So you go out going, I didn't make that last bar every single, no matter what meet it is, no matter what match, we have the NCAA finals. And so, yeah, like, losing is a part of it and winning is something you work for. And so always focusing on learning how to just win and being there and enjoy the journey. That's the biggest thing. Enjoy the journey. If you enjoy the journey, your life's going to be so much better. And if you focus on the things you need to and just learn to progress instead of focusing on the bad things you did, there's a lot of power in that.
Power of positive thinking. I like it. I like it. And just a reminder to the people that are in here, if you have a question for Larry, you can write that in the chat and we can get to those. So the next one, of all the different skills that you learn as a student athlete, and so this can be on the runway or this could be off. So, time management or, being able to work hard. What do you think was the most valuable skill that you learned?
Ooh. Again, kind of going back, I'd say just like kind of caring about other people and just trust, like learning to trust. We live in a world, like, especially with coronavirus, like, there's so much media and things that are out there that's just like, should I trust my president? Should I not? Should I trust my next door neighbor? Should I not? Should I trust, there's so much trust issues and so much different things that, we live in a world where, like, a lot of bad things do happen, but there's a lot of good things that happen too. And, thankfully going through, we have the opportunity, we are blessed, even in high school, to have the opportunity to do scholastics and, like, to have, like, athletics involved in that. There's countries that don't get that opportunity. There's countries that are never going to have the opportunity. Those kids are going to grow up and never have the opportunity to throw football, throw baseball, to run, at an event or do that. And we're so blessed, like, beyond blessed, just to have these opportunities and to have coaches that come and sacrifice their time. And a lot of them volunteer. They come to help you out and to make you better and to build character into you. And so just learning to trust them and, like, just to learn to love, like, it sounds kind of simple and cheesy, but really it goes a long way, because we're so blessed to be where we're at today, like, to even be able to do athletics out in college or all that stuff. And there's going to be people who would kill to be in those shoes, or, in third world countries who don't even have shoes and kill just to be able to have your shoes, literally. And, we're so blessed. There's the programs that are here today that allow us to reach out and to be there for other people and to really just bring in the communities. It's amazing.
Definitely a bit of fresh air to have to stay on the positive side of things and try to think about, hey, how and that's kind of like why I wanted to do this too, is that, you have a lot of students who are getting their homework just put on web pages and you're reading screens, and we're definitely very blessed to have somebody as positive as you to share your experiences and learn digitally face to face like this. So looks like we do have one in the chat before I go back to the other one. Did you have a teammate who was a mentor when you started at EWU? Did you ever mentor another athlete?
So our mentor program, I think, got started mainly when that happened. We had mentors not on the team, but I think they started a program at Eastern my sophomore, junior, where they had, like, mentors and stuff as, like, your top. We had captains, so they kind of helped with that. At Utah Valley University, they have that. They have a mentor program with the athletes mentor. You have an upper class athlete who mentors, and so I didn't have that opportunity, but I had the opportunity to be a captain at East Washington University, and I felt like I kind of mentored to a lot of, like, the freshmen and some of the people who were struggling. I got to be there for them, and that was really nice. And I think it's a really wonderful program, and yeah, I'm pretty sure they have something like that started up at Eastern, and so that I know they at least have like a mentor, like a faculty mentor that will help you to, if you are having struggles or have anything or need more resources, they'll be there to help you.
You said that one of the most important skills that you learned was just to not be selfish, be humble, and to make good connections. Is there anybody still today that you talk to from a previous team that maybe you did make a connection to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Rich Krigler, who's the pole vault coach at Richland High School, like he's like my dad. And I haven't stayed as much in contact as I'd like to, but like he's literally like my dad. He's been there for me. He, took me from, especially in high school, and I was kind of just a really not a very good kid. I'll be honest. I was kind of silly, but he took me and, gave me a structure and gave me something that helped me to be like, I need to start thinking about other people. I need to start being there for other people. I need to learn how to give back. Rich was like a really big guy on like, give more back than what you got. And I think that's a really important quality to learn throughout the rest of life. Like, life's too short to be selfish and to think about ourselves. And if we can help others along our way and make them happy and let them feel that joy, like, and we have the opportunity, the means, then do it. Like, you absolutely should. And so, yeah. And I've had some friends like Macy Whites. I've known her for like 8-9 years now, and I vaulted with her in high school all the way through Eastern when she graduated, and Dante Tyler. And like, they are like really, really good friends. And it's like, we could talk right now and be like, we never missed a beat no matter what. So
Dante Tyler is actually our next person that we're interviewing tomorrow. You got anything you want to say about Dante before we interview him?
You will never meet someone who's more driven than Dante. Really, he cares so much. He has like the biggest heart, and sometimes he might not seem like it, but he has the biggest heart out of anybody. Like, just such a big caring heart. He always wants to be there for other people, and he's just so driven. Like, he has his goals. He's structured. He's like strategic. He figures out what he wants to do and he does it. And he doesn't complain. He doesn't say, doesn't, anytime he's ever been underprivileged or not had the opportunity, he makes it happen. He's not one to just stay in the back and talk. He's quiet and he makes everything happen he needs to do. And he's going to be quite successful. I guarantee that. He's just a really good human being, just a really good man. So
definitely has a track record, pun intended there. I should add, though, that Elizabeth Quick said the same thing about you, about being driven. She was our interview right before you, and that she had,
really?
Yeah, she said you're never going to meet the most driven guy. He's so dedicated at his craft. She had nothing but praise for you.
Oh, she's so sweet. And I'm sure she talked to you guys about like her humanitarian service and like all that stuff she did. Wasn't she? She's great.
Okay, so considering where you're at now in life and that you've had this collegiate career, you've had all these experiences, what are some of the opportunities, I guess, what are some of the doors that have opened for you, windows that have opened for you through your experiences of everything you've been through, college, athletics, everything?
Yeah. Definitely, like, just the degree. Like, no matter what anybody says, like, if you're going to do athletics at a college, your main thing should be you're getting a degree. You want to be walking out of there with a degree, and that's the most important thing you should be focused on. Athletics comes second and always should. That's your life, and that's going to pay dividends the 4 or 5 years. And if you're very blessed and lucky, the more years to come that you get to go professional and do all of that, that degree is going to be the thing that gets you through the rest of your life and sets a precedence for you to have credentials for all that work you put in. So being able to have that has opened up a lot of doors, and that's what's going to help me to get into financial advising and to be able to move on with my life after graduating and doing all of that stuff. And then the amount of doors that opens up, especially if you work hard and put everything in, there's so much knowledge you occur about just college in general and being an athlete and your specific event that you do that opens up doors to coaching, to being able to be there for other people, to help other people and teach them so they can get to the same spot you were. You open up a lot of doors, and just being able to, marketing around everywhere. Me, especially transferring to another school, I have lots of people at Eastern and lots of people at Utah Valley University that I can now market with for the rest of my life and be there for. Coach Allison, I'm sure, is always going to be there for me through my life, and I know I'll be there for him. Rich is always going to be there for me. I know I'll always be there for him. My coach now, he's the same thing. And like, you open so many doors, and if you're trying to get a job, the amount of references you have now is like, goes way out the door. It's so nice.
Yes, definitely better to have lots of bridges than bridges burnt down, for sure. Okay, so If there was a younger you in front of you right now, or let's say somebody that's about ready to embark on the same journey that you have, what valuable advice would you give that person?
Ooh, thought I thought of this one, but maybe I didn't. Let's see.
Basically, if you go back and say, like Back to the Future style, you show up in the DeLorean, okay, you jump out, you say, Larry, hey, here's some valuable advice you're gonna need before you head out to Eastern.
I'd say know your worth. I think that'll probably be the biggest thing. Like sometimes as athletes, and especially like with the NCAA, there's going to be times when you're going to go through and you just feel like you're just another body, or like you feel like, maybe I'm just not, I'm not making it to the championships, or I'm not making the NCAA. What's my worth here? Like really learning to know your worth as an individual and not as an athlete. Like athlete is something that we do. That's not what makes us who we are. We are people. We have feelings. We have other things that go on beyond that. That's just a hobby. That's just something we do. Me being a pole vaulter, Larry still is a person, a human being, an individual. He's not a pole vaulter. That's not what defines me. What defines me is my characteristics and my love for others and the things I, try to help people with, and my hobbies and my loves, my interests. That's Larry, not pole vaulter Larry who did something good. So I'd say like learn to love yourself and to really know the individual you are, so you're not in a spot where you're down the future questioning that. You should never question that.
Looks like we got another question from the audience here. It says, how do you stay driven?
Yeah, see, that's a good one. And see, it can be tough because with everything that's going on, you can just feel like you're totally ground to the dirt after finals week and all this stuff. And sometimes there'll be motivation times where like, especially in the summers, like I'm in the summer and we're not doing anything that much, or even especially right now with coronavirus, like some of you might be coming back and having to deal with that. And it could be hard. Like, how am I don't feel driven to do my homework. Like, what's the point? Or I don't feel driven to go get that workout in. Or I don't feel driven. And I'd say set goals, like be structured every day. If you really want to stay driven, make a schedule for yourself and stick to it. It could be as little as I'm going to wake up at 8 in the morning, go to bed at 10, like every single day. Like, and I'm going to have that structured, and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to write my goals for the day that I want to have. And I'm going to write what my big future goals and what my small goals are. And, I'm going to do everything I can to achieve those and work towards that day. So staying structured is probably the biggest one, and sticking with it. Because the second we kind of get into monotony and we kind of start to fall away and just like, that's when it's going to really get to you. So especially like with coronavirus and everything, when schools are locked down, we don't have the means to go and vault or means to go and do our athletic events that we love. Find something to do, like be structured with it. Again, like the sport doesn't define you. So just make sure you still keep that structure and you're just being strong with it. And the day will come when you get a vault again, or you get to go to school again, or things are going to be normal. It's all going to come back, but just still be structured, because it's really easy not to be this, especially in these times. It's really easy to just sit on the couch and watch news on coronavirus all day. Like, get out there, go do something, go be productive.
I can definitely just play because I'm recording this. I can definitely play this every day because you're driving me right now. Like, this is you are an inspirational person. Absolutely. Go ahead and tell us, what are you up to now? What's in Larry's cards right now? I mean, I know we're all home and everything, but kind of give us an update of, what do you got going on in your life?
So yeah, I got a lot actually. So I might be moving to North Carolina here soon for a job opportunity with Edward Jones, and that's hopefully a possibility. I got engaged, so I'm getting married here soon. Should be very, very nice. Always love that. She's so wonderful. Very blessed. And then, there's kind of some because the NCAA is giving us a sixth year. Like they're gonna give us an extra year of eligibility, so I can always come back. But I don't know if I'm going to, because I just kind of want to get life started. I'm ready. I'm excited. So just kind of getting life started, getting ready to, get on with my life, start giving back instead of, being the athlete, more be the coach. I had an opportunity to coach at Lone Peak High School and be the head pole vault coach there this year, but then coronavirus hit. So it's kind of unfortunate, but it's exciting. Life's looking really good. Just staying involved with lots of stuff at my church I love it. Life's going really good.
Good. Here's another one. It says, what would you say to an athlete who didn't receive an athletic scholarship to college and isn't sure if they can make it as a collegiate athlete?
Um, and that's tough, and depending on your situation, because we can be in spots where it's like we didn't meet the marks to go, like we love the event so much and we didn't meet the marks that we need to just to be a walk-on. So if you're talking about like I don't even have the opportunity offered to me to be a walk-on somewhere, and again I'd say education is the most important thing. Focus on the education and put that first, let everything else come. Don't let the athletics dictate where you need to go in life or where you need to be placed, because at the end of the day, that's athletics. When we're on our deathbeds and looking at everything, we're going to be looking at our family and friends around us and how happy and how much we are to give them back, not whether or not I was an athlete at Eastern Washington University. That it doesn't define us, so don't forget that. But for me, I never wanted to take in debt. I didn't even want to go to college. I loved pole vault so much, but after like looking at it and everything, I'm so happy that I took, because I didn't get as much scholarship as I thought I was worth, especially the first one. And even though it just was kind of just a weird situation because, there's not a lot of money out there. There really isn't. And people will tell you there is, but there really isn't. There, with Title IX and all these different rules and regulations that the NCAA places on these schools with everything, there's not a lot of money out there to give, especially to, events that are, or sports that aren't like your big two, like basketball and football. If you're not a basketball, football, it's really tough. If you're a woman in the sport, it's a little bit easier because of Title IX, because a lot of times colleges will have football programs, but they have to equal out the amount of scholarships they can get for women and men. And so, volleyball and a lot of women's sports will have a little bit better opportunity with that because the guys take up a lot of the scholarship money. And so, but yeah, if it's like it's just kind of depends. If it's like I haven't met the marks to where I want to walk on to where I'd like to go, you have two options, and it's either you can move on from that or not. And you can either make a decision, I'm going to give my all right now through the summer period or whatever period may come, that I'm going to try to hit those marks and try to be better and train hard. And if I don't get it, then you don't get it. Then, it's time to move on and kind of focus on some other things, Again, don't make the sport everything that is your life, because you're so much more than that. And education at the end of the day is the most important thing, walking out with that degree. And so and you never know, maybe you go and you choose that, and then you go in and talk to the coaches in person and you're like, hey, I really want to, give me a shot. Let me work this. And sometimes coaches can work that out with you. You just got to be open to life and the ideas, but don't let that stuff define you, because we don't want to get caught up in the thing where it's like, I could have been, or I should have been, or what if I did this, because there's no point in doing that. Just focus on the future and your education. And then if the sport comes, it comes.
Nobody's ever made it to the top of the mountain by looking back and seeing how far have I come, So I definitely agree with you. You gotta have those life goals. You gotta make sure and have those. Looks like somebody says, hey, are you gonna be visiting RHS again sometime?
Yeah, hopefully. I'd really love to. That'd be really so. I'll hopefully throughout the years, and especially if I get moved and settled in North Carolina, it's going to be a little bit, but I'm going to be there to visit my family and hopefully, be there around to visit other people. I know, like, track and field wise, like Rich has some stuff going on in the summers and stuff that I might, when everything starts back up, go say hi, go out coach, and just go say hi to everyone in Richland. So yeah, that's the plan.
I think I'd have trouble recognizing you. When you came on, your hair's a different color. A lot less piercings around the place. So I was gonna say, maybe the engagement did that. I'm not sure.
No, my church did that.
Okay, there you go.
I got in the spot, to be honest, and that's why I kind of brought up with the mental stuff. And I don't want anyone to think that because you have piercings or anything, like, you're bad. Like, you do you. Like, that's so you. And if you feel that defines me, that didn't define me at all. That's something I kind of did because I got in a rut where I was kind of focusing on the wrong things, and I was really upset with the person I was. And so that outward appearance and reflection of how I was really reflecting my inward appearance of, kind of where I was at. And that's not for everybody. If you have piercings, I'm not saying like you're struggling or anything, because I don't think there's anything wrong with piercings. But for me, it wasn't me. And then coming back, like, I found a lot of light and happiness and joy. And like, I don't need that. I don't need that stuff to be different anymore. It's for me. So
Well, Larry, thank you so much for coming and visiting us today and helping out my class. We got, EWU record holder, Big Sky competitor. We got just a positive guy all around. You're somebody I wish I knew somebody like you when I was doing sports in high school. Because right now, I think I might go run a couple miles right now just after hearing you talk. So thank you so much for coming and talking to us all.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stuart. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.